That musty smell that hits you the second you turn on your AC, it's alive. I don't mean that as a figure of speech. Scientists pulled the air conditioning cores out of 24 cars across 5 countries, sequenced the DNA of what was growing on them, and found the same thing dominating nearly everyone, a slime-building bacteria called methylobacterium, an organism that literally eats the chemical fumes floating around inside your car and uses them to build a living fortress on the coldest, wettest, darkest part of your dashboard. That smell is that colony breathing out. And here's why it's worst in the first 30 seconds after you start the car. That colony has been sitting in the dark, wet and undisturbed, concentrating its fumes, and the first blast of air flushes all of it straight into your face. Now the good news, and the honest version of it. There is a 5-minute fix, and I'm going to do it with you on camera in a few minutes. It'll knock that smell down today. But I'm also going to tell you the thing every other video hides. On a car that smells this bad, the 5-minute fix is a knockdown, not a kill. The smell comes back in days unless you do one more 20-minute step. And that step is the whole reason this colony has been beating you. So, you're getting both. The fast fix that works today. The real fix that keeps it dead for the season. A 30-second smell test that tells you if it's even mildew at all. Because some of these smells aren't mildew, and one of them is toxic. And the honest answer to the Lysol war that's raged in comment sections for a decade. Let's start by proving what we're dealing with. 90 seconds on why this happens to basically every car, so the fix makes sense. Behind your dashboard sits a part called the evaporator. Think of it as a little radiator that runs cold instead of hot. That's the part that actually makes your air cold. And when it's running, it's below the dew point, which is a technical way of saying water condenses on it constantly. The same way a cold glass of iced tea sweats on a summer day. That's totally normal. That dripping water is supposed to run out a tube under your car. That's the little puddle you see after you've been running the AC. But here's the setup for disaster. That evaporator is cold, it's wet, it's pitch dark, and it's got air blowing over it all day carrying dust, pollen, dead leaves, and yes, dead bugs. Food. Cold plus wet plus dark plus food is the exact recipe for a science fair mold experiment. And the fins are made of aluminum, which these organisms are perfectly happy to colonize. Give it a few weeks of summer humidity, and you've grown a biofilm, a living mat of mold, mildew, and that gas-eating bacteria. And its waste gases are the dirty gym socks in a wet basement smell you're driving around in. And this isn't some fringe theory. The car makers have known for decades. Toyota's own technician training manual flat out admits these odors are a common complaint and that there's no permanent mechanical repair, blaming microbes growing on the evaporator. General Motors has an official service bulletin dedicated to the musty smell, with its own special coding and procedure. When the manufacturer writes a bulletin about your exact problem, you know it's not just your car, it's the design. Which is why the fix isn't about scrubbing your vents or hanging a tree from your mirror. Those never touch the source. The source is buried on a cold coil deep in your dash. And everything we do today is about reaching it, killing what's on it, and then keeping it too dry to grow back. But before you spend a single dollar or a single minute, do the 30-second test. Because if your smell isn't actually musty, you're about to fix the wrong thing. Not every AC smell is mildew. Some are harmless. One could set your wallet on fire, and one is genuinely toxic. 30 seconds, nose engaged, here's the whole map. Musty, basement, wet gym socks, sour, worst on startup, fades a little as you drive. That's the mildew we're killing today. 90% of you are here. Stay with me. But if instead you smell sweet, like maple syrup or antifreeze, stop. That is not mildew, and no amount of coil cleaner touches it. That's coolant leaking from your heater core. It often comes with a greasy fog on the inside of your windshield, and the liquid is toxic, poisonous to pets and kids. That's a shop visit, not a spray can. Do not chase that one with an air freshener. Rotten eggs. Sulfur? That's not your AC at all. That's usually your catalytic converter or fuel system, and it points at a completely different repair. We've got a whole video on what your nose can diagnose. This isn't that smell's home. Burning, hot plastic, or electrical. Turn the fan off and get it looked at. That can be your blower motor or its wiring overheating, and electrical burning smells are the one category where the honest advice is stop and inspect, because the failure mode is fire and gasoline or a dead animal rot. Fuel smell means a possible leak drawn into the cabin. Safety issue. Rotting usually means a rodent built a nest in your cabin filter or air intake, which, believe it or not, we solve halfway through today's fix anyway. So, musty, sour basement, worst on startup? You're in the right video. Everybody else, I just saved you from spraying coil cleaner at a problem it can't fix. Now let's knock this smell down in 5 minutes. Here's the 5-minute fix I promised, and I'm doing it the honest way, which means telling you exactly what it does and doesn't do while I do it. The core move takes 5 minutes. Disinfect the coil through the air intake. Here's the setup. Start the engine. Fan on high. Air conditioning off. You want the coil to stop making new water for a minute. Set it to fresh air, not recirculate. Windows open. This matters. You don't want to breathe this. Now, the spray goes into the fresh air intake, which on almost every car is the vent slots at the base of the windshield, down by the wipers, on the passenger side. That's the mouth that feeds your whole HVAC system. With the fan pulling hard, whatever you spray there gets sucked back across the evaporator, exactly where the colony lives. What to spray? And here's where I settle the Lysol war. Yes, you can use Lysol or a similar aerosol disinfectant, and no, it will not blow up your car. People have done it for years. It genuinely knocks the smell down today. But understand what it is. Lysol is a disinfectant, not a coil cleaner. It kills surface germs and masks the smell. It does not remove the biofilm mat, so it comes back, usually within days to a week. If Lysol is what's under your sink right now, use it for the fast knockdown. Fan high, fresh air, windows open, and don't soak the electronics. But if you're buying something on purpose, spend the $12 on a proper automotive evaporator foam like Cool It or Friggy Fresh. They're formulated for the coil, they lift the film instead of just disinfecting it, and they last weeks to months instead of days. Run the fan a couple more minutes to pull it all through, then switch the AC back on and let it blow out. That's the 5 minutes, and I'll be straight with you. Right now, your car probably smells better already. For a lot of you with a mild case, that's genuinely enough. Do it, keep it dry with the habit I'm about to show you, and you're done. But if your case is a bad one, if that smell has been living in there all summer, this bought you a few days, not a cure. Because we disinfected the surface, but we didn't remove the mat, and we didn't fix the reason it grew in the first place. That reason, and the 20-minute job that actually ends this, is next. And it's the part Kenji and every thin video on this topic completely skips. The 5-minute fix disinfects. This is the part that kills. 3 steps that remove the colony and take away its home. 20 minutes, under $20. And it's the difference between a smell that returns Friday and a coil that stays clean all season. Step 1. Pull and check the cabin air filter. Behind most glove boxes in a slot sits a paper filter every breath of your AC passes through. Pop the glove box stops, swing it down, slide the filter out. 2 things happen here. 1. You look at it, and half of you are about to find it black with debris, sometimes damp, sometimes hosting the exact leaf litter and dead bugs that feed the mold. A soaked, filthy filter is a smell source all by itself. 2. With it out, you now have a clean shot at the blower and the coil behind it, which makes step 2 work far better. Drop in a fresh filter, $15 to $40, 5 minutes. And a real talk note on the carbon filter upsell. An activated carbon filter genuinely helps with smells coming from outside the car, exhaust, smoke, but it sits upstream of the evaporator, so it does nothing about mold growing downstream of it on the coil. Buy it if you like for outside odors. Don't buy it expecting it to fix this. This is exactly the kind of upsell that sounds right and isn't. Step 2. The foaming evaporator cleaner, applied where it actually reaches the coil. This is the real weapon. Unlike a disinfectant, a foaming evaporator cleaner expands into a thick foam that coats the coil, lifts the biofilm off the fins, and then drains out the condensate tube, carrying the gunk with it. There are 3 ways to get it there, best first. If your car has a blower resistor, you can pop out. That's a direct line to the coil. Pull it, spray in. If not, many kits come with a long tube you feed up the drain tube from underneath so the foam backs up into the box. And the simplest, with the cabin filter out from step 1, spray it toward the blower opening and let the fan pull it across. Follow the can's dwell time. Usually you let it sit and liquefy, and it drains out under the car carrying the dead colony with it. This is the step that removes the mat. This is why your smell doesn't come back in 3 days. Step 3. Clear the drain tube, because a clogged one is why it got this bad. Remember that tube that's supposed to drain the coil's water out under the car? When it clogs, with leaves, dust turned to mud, even a mud dauber wasp nest, the water can't escape. Now the coil sits in a standing puddle instead of draining, which is paradise for the colony, and the overflow soaks your passenger floor. Signs you've got this: a wet or damp passenger carpet, a sloshing sound behind the dash on turns, or no puddle under the car after running the AC when there should be one. To clear it, find the tube poking through the firewall, usually passenger side near the center, and gently work a zip tie up into it, or blow it clear with low air from below. One critical warning: do not jam stiff wire or blast high-pressure air up hard, because you can bend the delicate coil fins or even puncture the core, and now you've turned a free fix into a real repair. Gentle. And here's a health footnote worth knowing. That standing stagnant water in a clogged drain is the one scenario where researchers have actually found concerning bacteria. Keeping the drain clear isn't just about the smell, it's about not letting a swamp form in your dashboard. That's the kill. Fresh filter, foam the coil, clear the drain. Do those 3, and the colony is gone, and its home is dry and draining. But there's a reason it grew in the first place, and if you skip this last free habit, it just comes right back. This is the single most important 30 seconds in the whole video, and almost nobody does it. Everything we just did removes the colony. This is what stops it from ever coming back, and it costs you nothing forever. Mold needs water. Take away the water, you take away the mold. So here's the habit. For the last 2 or 3 minutes before you park, turn the AC compressor off, but leave the fan running. That's it. Those couple minutes of dry air blow the coil dry, so instead of parking your car with a soaking wet coil sitting in the dark all night, growing mold until morning, you park it with a dry one. Do that every day, and the colony never gets the standing water it needs to rebuild. This one habit is why some people clean their coil once and never smell it again, while others are back to spraying every 2 weeks. And here's a genuinely surprising thing most owners have no idea about. A lot of cars, especially many GM models, actually have a hidden feature built in to do this for you automatically. It's called afterblow. The fan kicks on by itself a while after you've parked and shut off, running for a bit to dry the coil. The catch? On the cars that have it, it usually ships turned off from the factory, and it takes a scan tool to switch it on. So almost nobody knows they're already paying for a feature that would have prevented this whole problem. Worth asking a good shop or looking up for your specific model. But whether your car has the fancy version or not, you are the free version. Fan on, AC off, last 2 minutes. Every drive. So that's the full system. Knock it down in 5, kill it in 20, keep it dead for free. And if you followed all of that, and the smell still comes roaring back within a week, that's not a failure. It's information, and it tells you something specific about your car. That's the "when this won't work" conversation, and it's coming up in the clinic. But first, let me clear out the myths, because this topic is a swamp of bad advice that costs people real money. 4 pieces of AC smell advice you've heard that the evidence flatly contradicts. Each one costs somebody money right now. Myth 1. It's just water. Condensation smell. No big deal. Water is odorless. What you smell is a living colony's waste gas. Calling it just water is how a fixable problem becomes a permanent one you stop noticing until a passenger points it out. Myth 2. Get your AC recharged. That'll fix the smell. No. Refrigerant charge and coil mold have absolutely nothing to do with each other. If a shop tries to sell you a recharge to fix an odor, you've just learned something important about that shop. A recharge fixes weak cold, not bad smell. Different problem entirely. Myth 3. Get an ozone treatment. That's the permanent fix. Careful here. Ozone does oxidize odor, and detailers use it. But two problems. 1. Ozone is corrosive. Run enough of it and it degrades your rubber seals, wiring insulation, and plastics. And the EPA plainly states it's a lung irritant that no federal agency has approved for use in occupied spaces. 2. And this is the killer. Ozone doesn't stop regrowth. Blast the smell away with ozone, leave the coil wet, and the colony rebuilds. It treats the symptom and skips the cause, the opposite of everything we did today. Myth 4. A masking spray, a vent clip, a little tree, problem solved. Masking is not killing. The colony is still on the coil, still growing, still off-gassing. You've just taped an air freshener over a mold problem. Worse, now you can't smell it getting worse. The whole point of today is that we went to the source on the coil, not the symptom at the vent. The thread through all four. The smell lives on a cold coil buried in your dash, downstream of your filter, upstream of your nose. Anything that doesn't reach that coil is theater. Everything we did reaches it. Quick, honest aside, because what we just did is exactly how I think every car problem should go. Find the real source, use the cheapest thing that reaches it, and know the limit where DIY stops and a shop starts. I put that whole approach into the Complete Driver's Defense Kit. The 20-minute fixes guide in it walks this evaporator job step by step with the access points for common cars, so you're not guessing where your blower resistor is at 9 at night. It's also got every dashboard warning light ranked by how fast you actually have to act, the 15 check engine codes you'll really meet with the cheap cause to rule out first, the noise diagnosis chart, and a printable fair price card for the glove box. So when a smell turns out to be that heater core repair, you walk in knowing what it should cost. 9 guides, a printable pack, $39, one time. First link in the description. It exists so the next weird smell, light, or noise finds you already knowing the move. Now, the clinic, where I answer the exact cars in the comments. These are the situations that flood every AC smell comment section. Find yours. I already changed my cabin filter and it still smells. Of course it does. And now you know why. The filter sits upstream of the coil. The mold is downstream, on the evaporator. A new filter is step 1 of 3, not the whole fix. You still need the foam on the coil. This is the single most common frustrated comment on every video like this, and it's because thin videos stop at the filter. The smell only lasts the first 2 or 3 minutes, then goes away. That's classic, and it's actually mild case good news. Overnight, the colony sits undisturbed, concentrating its gases. Startup flushes that built-up puff at you, then fresh air dilutes it. The 5-minute knockdown plus the drying habit often fully handles the startup-only version. If it's only the first 30 seconds and never comes back that drive, you've got a light colony. Treat it now before it becomes an all-day smell. It's way worse right after it rains or in humid weather. Makes complete sense. More humidity means more condensation on the coil means more water for the colony, so it blooms and off-gasses harder. It also can mean your drain is sluggish and holding water longer than it should. Do the full kill and pay special attention to clearing that drain tube. The rain cases are usually drain cases. I sprayed the stuff and it came back in 3 days. That's the tell I promised you. Coming back in days means one of two things. Either you used a disinfectant that only knocked it down instead of a foam that removed it, or the colony is deep and heavy and surface spray can't reach all of it, or, most common, you're not doing the drying habit, so it just regrows in the overnight puddle. Redo it with an actual foam cleaner, clear that drain, and commit to the fan dry habit. If it still returns fast after all 3, your coil is heavily colonized and you're into the next answer. I've done everything, and it won't quit. Here's your honest, when this won't work. If a proper filter foam drain job plus the drying habit doesn't hold, the biofilm is entrenched deeper in the box than surface cleaners reach. The next step up is a shop doing a direct access cleaning with partial dash disassembly, realistically in the $400 to $700 range. And only in genuinely severe, rare cases does it come to replacing the evaporator itself, which is a labor-heavy dash-out job that can run anywhere from around 900 into the thousands, because the part is cheap, but reaching it means pulling the dashboard. The good news: standard cleaning handles the large majority of cases. Almost none of you will ever need the dash-out version. But now you know the fair price if a shop claims you do, instead of taking their word for it. Certain cars just seem cursed with this. Some genuinely are more prone. Several popular Toyotas and Hondas are so well known for evaporator odor that, as I mentioned, Toyota redesigned an evaporator subassembly specifically to reduce it, and there are service bulletins going back to the 90s. If you own one of the notorious ones, the drying habit isn't optional maintenance. It's the price of keeping that specific car from smelling. Not your fault. Just your car's design. Now you know to stay ahead of it. The whole system, one breath. First, the smell test. Musty and worst on startup is mildew, and you're in the right place. Sweet syrup, sulfur, or burning is a different problem, some of them serious, so don't spray those. Then the 5-minute knockdown. Fan high, AC off, fresh air, windows open, disinfectant, or better yet, a real foam into the intake by the wipers. Then the 20-minute kill. Fresh cabin filter, foaming evaporator cleaner onto the coil. Clear the drain tube gently. Then the free forever habit. Last 2 minutes of every drive. AC off, fan on, dry that coil. And if it still comes back hard after all that, it's a deep colony, a shop's direct access clean, and you now know the fair price before you walk in. The smell was never a mystery, and it was never really about air freshener. It's a living thing on a wet coil, and you just learned how to starve it out for good. Everything today, the fixed steps, the fair prices, the dashboard lights, the codes, the maintenance schedule that keeps you ahead of problems like this, is in the Complete Driver's Defense Kit, $39. First link below. It's the glove box version of knowing what they know.